Good morning, everybody. Paul Romero, Swiss Gold Global, independent business owner, network marketing training number 83. And we are going to do a little bit of talking today about the Own Your Life Plan, 45-second presentation. Training manual, network marketing training manual. I'm sorry, Google Plus is not working for me this morning. So, for some reason now it doesn't seem to be wanting to send invites. Not quite sure what that's all about. And didn't even want to get me here. I had this thing all set up, ready to go, and didn't work. Had to start over. That's why we're late again. Don't like being late, and it drives, but here we are, and we'll give it our best. So apologies for the inconvenience of lateness and all that. It's just the wondrous technology of the world today makes everything so easy and bountiful and saves time and headache and hassle, and it just drives you nuts. So there you go. That's there's my rant for the morning. I'm free now to enjoy life and be happy as it should be. So there we go. Here we are. We're going to be talking today a little bit about, as I said, the Own Your Life Plan 45-second presentation by Don Fela, the training manual for network marketing. Whatever your product or service is, if it's network marketing, this is your training manual. I am telling you, 90% of the people in network or 90% of the people on the planet have no idea what network marketing is, and you know what? 90% of the people in network marketing don't know what network marketing is. This book will teach you exactly what network marketing is. Morning, Mr. J. What do you say?
Good morning, Paul. I have a special guest on the line today who wants to say hello to everybody.
Hello.
Hi. All right, let me do my
hey.
Ready?
Zachariah.
Yeah, he had to stay home sick from school today. Woke up with his face in the toilet. So, anyway, as Paul said, if
you would have done what you were supposed to do yesterday and take him to the doctor, that wouldn't have happened.
Unrelated. Anyways, as Paul said, we're going to get into the Own Your Life Plan book, and the importance of this, it's our training manual, and more than just distinguishing between what network marketing is and what network marketing isn't. This book actually is our manual. It's our training guide, if you will. It is lays the foundation, the groundwork for everything we need to know and learn to go out and sponsor people and build an organization. And over the last several, probably 20 hangouts prior to the beginning of this year, we had gone through chapters 1 through 4 and showed you the first 3 napkin presentations from the Own Your Life Plan book. And again, if you haven't read the book or you're new to these hangouts and you are just getting on board here and you're not sure what it's all about, go to the ownyourlifeplan.com website, www.ownyourlifeplan.com, where you can read the first 4 chapters for free and see some introductory videos to Swiss Global itself. But I urge everybody to do that. And I think we plan on finally getting into some new material from the book and discussing Chapter 5 this morning. So with that, Paul, why don't you get us started?
I was just going to say, unfortunately, we're probably the only ones going to be seeing this today because, like I was talking about, Google Plus being all messed up, I sent out invitations, I shared the link, I did all these things this morning so that everybody could be here, and Google Plus decided it didn't want to work, period, doing all that fun stuff that I wasted my time doing. So at the very, very last second, pretty much starting all over from scratch and barely getting a last-second invite out to people to come here. I would imagine if anybody made it, they probably went to the wrong link. They're probably somewhere else looking at a screen that isn't working and going, you know, what's wrong with these guys? But if you made it here, awesome. Sorry. So let's get started here. Napkin presentation number 4 is digging to bedrock. Now, one thing that you need to understand if you're new at this, if this is part of your training, or if you are getting started in the business and you've brought somebody into the business, when you first sign up, we don't want you to consider the first month, maybe 6, even 8 weeks, depending on your sort of learning curve, as the start of your business. A lot of people, the disappointment and the frustration factor of not making something happen right away causes people to drop out and not move forward with their business. So if you consider this first 30 to 60 days as your training period, opposed to you starting your business period, then kind of gives you a little freedom, a little leeway, a little less pressure on yourself to sort of think that, hey, you know what? I may not be moving at light speed right now, but it's okay because I'm learning. Okay? So if you can do that, if you can put yourself in that kind of a mind frame, it sort of eases the burden a little bit, makes this whole thing a little bit easier, and helps you to actually get the ball rolling and moving forward, getting it into first gear, so to speak, as we spoke of in napkin presentation number 3. So during your training period, there's really only 2 things that you're going to be doing. And number 1 is sharing the first 4 chapters, not even this chapter, but the first 4 chapters up to presentation number 3 of this book. So you want to be sharing that with people. With as many as you can, sharing the first 4 chapters of the book. And the other thing that you want to be doing is to be inviting people to see the business. And you don't even have to worry about being the person who's going to be showing them the business. Okay? You leave that to your sponsor or your sponsor's sponsor, or whoever happens to be the upline who has enough training that they're comfortable and confident in showing the business. And also, with our product, with Swissquote Global, you can also rely on the website, because the website in and of itself is a great way to show the business. There's 4 fantastic videos there that show what the product is, show what the service is, gives a little bit of information about the compensation plan, and also shows a little bit more about the actual business and earning the money and all of that stuff. So you can utilize the website. So in the beginning, all you're really doing is just opening your mouth a little bit, talking to people, saying, "Hey, go read the first 4 chapters of this book and tell me what you think about it." Or what, go look at these 4 3-minute videos and tell me what you think about it. Or maybe you don't even have them look at the 4th video. Just say, hey, go look at these first 3 little 3-minute videos and tell me what you think about it. So that's when you're starting out a network marketing business, it's just that easy. 2 things, all you got to do. Isn't that right, John?
Absolutely. You know what? In digging, as Paul said, this 5th chapter, this 4th napkin presentation is called Digging to Bedrock. And the importance of this chapter, really, as Paul said, is to not allow yourself, because one of the biggest problems that beset a new distributor is they get discouraged. They may look at the leaders being way out ahead of them and feel like, man, I don't know how to do this business. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do to get started. And you know what? You don't have to worry about what you have to do to get started. You just have to consider beginning in the business as your training period, if you will. And as Paul said, there's just very simple things you need to do. Familiarize yourself with the first 4 chapters of the book and begin to just share it. And until you really get a grasp on what the business is all about, do you consider your beginning month, your first month in the business? Because the first couple weeks, obviously, you're training. And there's a little napkin presentation that goes along with this. I was going to draw it out, but Paul just flashed it up on his screen that he already has it on a card. I was going to draw it as we go. But before I turn it back to you, Paul, to kind of explain that, I just want to say, when you first start off in the business, don't begin counting, oh, I've been in network marketing for a month. Maybe your training period is 2 weeks. Maybe your training period is 4, 6, 8 weeks. The biggest thing to keep in mind is that you don't get discouraged and you begin considering your entry into the business as your training period, and that when your training is through, only then do you begin to count the months and the time you've been in the business, because then you're starting the business with a head start after your training is complete. And I'm going to toss it back to Paul over here to kind of show you the napkin presentation behind this concept.
Yeah, that's actually good. I left that piece out where you actually consider this your training period, so that when you do actually start the business, like John said, you've got yourself a head start. So once you've sort of explained that to your prospect and you've got them to understand that, hey, listen, pressure's off. This is your training period. All you have to be doing is just these two very simple things. No, there's no win loser. There's no win or fail. There's no success or fail. You're just going out there. You're training. You're learning how to and you're just doing these two simple things. So with that, you grab your napkin presentation and you draw out this little picture. It might be a little easier for you to maybe just draw some circles instead of these people. I'm not an artist by any means. I don't know. I guess this kind of looks halfway okay now that I'm looking at it on the screen.
It looks awesome.
You can sort of see when I was drawing it out, it looked crappy as heck. But now that I look at it, it's actually not all that bad.
Well, here's my notes on it.
Let's see what. Okay, yeah. Well, those guys in the middle, I don't know, not quite sure what they're doing there though.
They look like they're taking craps.
I was going to say maybe it looks like one of those, where you walk around the circle. I forget what they call that game. You walk around and everybody tries to sit down in a chair.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, you grab your next napkin or your 4x6 card. These are great, by the way. The 4x6 cards, they're just about the right size, and they might even be just a tad small, but they're really good for if you got to have some in your pocket, you can pull out your cards and start doing your napkin presentations on your cards, because then when you draw these things out, then you can give these cards to your prospect, and they can have these drawn out in case they're not very artistically inclined. But something they can look at too and remind them. So anyway, you pull out your napkin and you say, hey, remember once you explain this first part about how simple it is, and like John said, you say, you remember back in high school in gym class, you always had to go out and run, right? Run laps, or I don't know, run through the fields or whatever they had you running. But we did a lot of running in high school, and when you went out there was always kind of like three groups. It was always like this main core group where the bulk of the class would be, and then there'd always be one or two people that are way out front, and then there'd always be a couple people that were kind of straggling behind. Well, when you first get into network marketing, like you say, that's kind of how you feel. You start out, immediately right here, and you might not even feel like just looking at the people around you. You're pretty sure the people above you that you have any chance of catching up. Why do we have an echo? Oh, are you kidding me?
I can hear you okay, Paul.
Yeah, I've got an echo on my side. I know what's going on here. I've got another screen somewhere that finally just start working. And it's hidden on the screen. I'm never going to find it. So I'm just going to have to listen. It's going to be fun. All right. So anyway, class. You're running. You get into network marketing, you're never going to be able to catch up, or so far out ahead of me, catch up. Well, that's the beautiful thing of network marketing. There is no finish line to the race. Okay, so it really doesn't matter where you are compared to the pack. The people that are way out front, because you're really running race. So the only when you start out, the only people that are going to fail are these guys.
Yep. The only losers are the quitters. I like that.
So as long as you stick with it, you're going to be a winner. That's the bottom line. Go ahead, John.
No, absolutely. And the beginning, like it was, we were trying to say, when you get started in this business, you're in your training month. And for some people, it could be 2 weeks, some people 4, some people 6 or 8. The biggest point of this napkin presentation is not to get discouraged, not to start out and look at the race being run ahead of you and your leaders and the people who have this big head start on you and get overwhelmed or discouraged by that, but consider yourself in training mode. And then when you're trained and you understand the concepts in the Own Your Life Plan book and you begin to sponsor your own people and dig down to bedrock, as we'll get into a little bit further what those napkin presentations look like, only then do you consider yourself beginning in the business. And then after your training and you begin counting your time in the business, you begin counting your time in the business when you're complete with your training and you're starting off with a head start. And it's very motivating. Another thing too about doing these napkin presentations, as you learn them and you begin sharing them, they act as self-motivators. For me, doing this chapter today, even looking at that concept of, I was slow to get started, but I'm motivated because until I actually got started and I was going through my training, I really hadn't got started yet. And then because I went through my training, now I'm starting with a head start. And you got to use these napkin presentations as tools to train your sponsor, the people you sponsor, but also they're self-motivators. Every time you display these to people, they're going to help you build a stronger, deeper foundation and motivation for this business. And, I guess the next thing to do is, picture a high-rise building going up and how, it seems like it takes a real long time for a high-rise building to be built. And the reason for that is to start building up, before you can start building your organization, you have to begin digging down. What's so funny over there? I see Paul laughing. You begin.
I don't know if this is coming out live on the video or not, but you sound like a robot voice.
A little boy voice?
No, a robot voice.
Oh my good! It's probably something with the Google Hangouts.
Oh,
it probably is going to sound like that. Hey, quiet down. What's up?
It stopped. It stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like all gargly, like.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. But basically, I was just saying about imagining the high-rise building, and before a building can build up, it has to build its foundation down. And Paul, do you have those little cue cards ready to go for this other thing?
Yeah, in actuality, we've only got like 2 minutes left, and I don't think we're going to get through that. I mean, that's basically the first half of Chapter 5. I think we should save the second half of this. We can review it a little bit on Monday and finish off the second half of it, because I want to go back and say that when you're part of napkin presentation number 5 here is letting your prospect know, or getting yourself to understand that when you're out there inviting people to go read the first 4 chapters of this book and showing them the business and whatnot, a lot of people might get kind of excited about it, but one way to sort of read the type of person that they might be is the fact that anybody that's going to want to get started in this business is going to have to really get in their mindset that they're kind of going to have to go back to school. They have to start learning something new, and that process obviously takes a little bit of time. You don't just read this book one time and you know it and boom, you're doing it. Okay, you have to read this book over and over again. You have to learn the process. You have to learn by doing. You have to learn by. That's why the training part is you're inviting people doing these 2 steps, because the more you just start learning how to do these 2 things, the better you become at them. So when you're out there talking to people and you're looking to invite somebody in, you got to find people that are willing to, or you want to find people that are willing to, make a commitment that say, I'm willing to invest maybe 10 hours, really? That doesn't seem like much. I'm willing to, I'm willing to, somebody who's willing to invest, a period of time. Say maybe they can only put 3 hours a week into this or something. So okay, 3 hours a week, four weeks a month. So they're willing to invest 12 hours a month. So hey, as long as they're willing to do that for say 3 to 6 months, there's a chance for them to learn and grow. If you get somebody that says, sure, hey, I'll give it a shot for 30 days, see how it goes, move on. That's just, they're not, they're obviously not committed. They're obviously not willing to put in the effort that it's going to take. So that's kind of part of your presentation here in Chapter 5, is to kind of gauge your other person and see that just by talking about this stuff and then the first 3 back-end presentations, one of the questions you might ask somebody is, so how much time do you think you'd be willing to put into this on a regular basis? And by their answer at this point in time, you can kind of gauge where people are at. And we're already, look at that, I told you we were running out of time. We're already 2 minutes over, John, so throw 2 cents worth in on that and let's get out of here.
Absolutely. Okay. So basically, just to continue with what Paul said about finding people that are your 5 gold chips that are serious and committed. Hey, you might find people who don't want to do this as and take on Swiss Gold Global as an independent business owner, but you may get yourself a customer there for the product, which is also okay. But really, what we're trying to impress upon you here through our trainings is that really you want to set your goal into finding the 5 gold chips, the 5 people who are committed to using Swiss Gold Global as a way to build a business for themselves, because that is what is going to build a business for you. So as Paul said, you want to spend your time training, sponsoring, and teaching people who are committed to a couple hours, at least a couple hours a week. And you know what? What the deal is with this is that a lot of people that are going to find this really interesting to them may have full-time jobs and may have other commitments or another business and can only devote a little bit of time. But what you're hoping to do is eventually be able to use this as a way to supplement your income, to leave that job and devote even more time to building an even larger organization. Long story short, you want to find people who have a similar mindset to you, that are open to learning and committed to being successful. And I just want to say, we went over this napkin presentation about getting a head start. Don't start counting your time in the business till you get through your training month. And, begin to visualize your business as if it's a high-rise building where you don't see a lot of growth upwards immediately, because you've got to dig down first and build your foundation, which is the second half, which is what we're going to talk, second half of this presentation, which is what we will be talking about on Monday. And unless Paul wants to throw something in, we're out of time, and I'm going to do our prayer. So, O universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches that have been given to me at birth, through the power to control and direct our own mind to whatever ends we may desire. With that, have a great weekend. Let's get back here Monday morning and finish out Chapter 5 and go out there and take some action this weekend. Thank you for joining us, and bye-bye.